I really hope that you're prepared. We have a lot of content, and the content today is focused on education. Like I packed in as much as I could. So when this is an hour webinar, just want you guys to know it really is a 1 hour webinar. This webinar, it's a class style. So I highly recommend, if you don't have a notepad right now, I recommend you go right now, get a notepad, get a cup of water, because it's going to be long and it's going to be very detailed. So I want to make sure that you guys are prepared to take in all of this information. It is going to be the best webinar I've put together with my team as far as the amount of content that we're putting into this. And really, it's because I want to start sharing a lot more and helping a lot more companies on really understanding the value of how structure of organization can help improve the customer experience and eliminate those surprises and those issues that sometimes happen. As we all know, roofing is intense. So I'm going to be sharing as much as I possibly can. At the end of the session, you're going to have a free QA at the end of the workshop. So I'm going to stay online. I'm going to be live for a while. And pretty much whenever everybody leaves is when I'm ending things. So per my team, that is my responsibility today, is as long as there's people on here at the end, I'm going to keep answering questions for you guys, and I'm going to keep helping you out. So thank you so much, everyone, for checking in. And while we're getting everyone checked in, welcome Kelly. Kelly is the co-host of this meeting. She's going to be monitoring the comments and helping you all out. She is my business partner at Business 411, and she helps create all of the amazing products, the content, the presentations, the designs, everything you guys see here. It's a team effort. Kelly, the rest of our team, we all work really hard. Special shout out to Talis. He just said hello in the comments. He's really helped create this vision, bring everything to life. He's the one that helped get all of you here today. So huge shout outs to both Kelly and Talis, who are on, and the entire Business 411 team. I appreciate you guys always. You guys are rock stars. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Welcome to our webinar today. We're going to be talking about no surprises. So let me actually open up the chat box here so I'm going to be able to read it. Sorry, here we go. And remember, throughout this webinar, if you have any questions, this is interactive. This is QA style and workshop style. So if you have questions, you're more than welcome to drop them in the chat as necessary, and Kelly will be answering them. If throughout the presentation you have any questions on implementation, awesome, just go ahead and drop that into the comments as well. And then remember, at the end of this session, you get as long as you guys want of asking me questions and working through any issues that you have, or anything that you really want to learn or ask any questions at all. We're going to be having that open QA at the end. So first of all, thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate your time. To me, it means a lot for you guys to even show up to this webinar. So my commitment during this webinar is to provide you with as much information as I can and help you walk away with some things that you can implement into your business, at least one or two things. So your homework during this class is going to be to at least write one or two things that helped you and how you're going to be able to implement them in the business. And then at the end, if you can share that with me, that's one thing that's going to help keep me motivated, as always, to keep creating more content and keep trying to help all of you out. So in case you don't know me, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I started in the industry in 2015. I was 18 years old, just out of college, wasn't really sure what to do. And I happened to get a job selling roofing measurement, estimating, and sales presentation technology. So my experience was I had to literally learn everything about the industry, because within the app, not only was I having to teach contractors to measure, I was having to teach them how to estimate, how to order their materials, and how to put together their sales presentation and manage their customers just using the software program. So it was a lot. And at that time, not knowing the industry at all, I went to study manufacturers, directly to suppliers, the contractors that I was working with. I would ask questions. And in that experience, I got to work with literally thousands of roofers. It was a very unique experience, and I did that for 5 years. In 2019, I quit my job and I started Business 411. And that decision came from just my experience when working with contractors, it was a lot of the same issues. And I realized that with the power of really developing a team and troubleshooting some of those issues, we could create really a change in the industry. So that's what Business 411 is all about. Right now, we're focused on the roofing industry and helping contractors improve their businesses, create their realities, and most importantly, create their dream companies. So that's what we do at Business 411. Currently, we have over 1,000 roofers. And if you guys that are business owners on the call, I know there's a couple of team members in here as well, but anybody who's a business owner, when you're creating something from scratch, I hope you guys understand the journey that you guys are all going through and growing your own businesses is the same journey that I've gone through creating Business 411 with my team and all of the great people that work here. So we have over 1,000 roofing contractors leveraging all of this content and information we've created at Business 411. Myself, some of you may have seen some like the photos and the stuff that we do on social media. I've had the privilege to consult for over $750 million in roofing revenue. So one thing that really has set me apart is I'm really good at planning, at operations, and I was able to use that skill and combine it with the experience of the roofers that I was planning and organizing for to be able to craft really well designed and well put together documentation on how a roofing company runs. So we've launched over 100 different roofing brands. Over 500 roofers are using our design services. And so it's been quite a journey just focusing in on the roofing industry, but I'm so grateful for this experience. All of you are in here. I'm very sure that you love the potential that the roofing industry has to offer all of us. So this is some of the amazing brands that my team has designed. And the owners that we've gotten to work with. So we're all about helping companies develop. So today what we're going to really be talking about is this industry that really sets me on fire. That's my passion, something that I feel this way about. It has such a bad market perception. So when we talk about market perception, I want you to understand that when it comes to the way that people view contractors and the reality that a lot of you might experience even when you're out there estimating or bidding against other contractors is contractors have the highest rate of customer complaints on the Better Business Bureau. And it doesn't mean that all contractors are bad, but what it means is it doesn't matter if you're a good contractor. This is a perception that you have to overcome in order to be truly successful and build your company to its full potential. So first of all, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about just overcoming this market perception before we get into the structure and processes area, just so you kind of understand. So we're going to be going through a few different things today. We're going to be going through how to improve the market perception, some of the things that you're going to be facing when you are out there trying to grow your business. We're going to be talking about structure, how the different departments are structured, how they flow together, how all of this comes into a way where you can create a well-flowing process and have it documented so that your team is consistent with the results that you all are driving. So starting off with the roadmap to better clients. A couple of things that we're going to be focusing on is how to improve that market perception. We want every homeowner that you talk to see contractors differently just based off of their experience of working with you. We want you guys to be able to provide a superior value to your clients through your community, to really raise awareness and most importantly, create more educated clients. So whether the client chooses to work with you or not, they are more educated, and little by little, we can start to make a change with the way that they're selecting contractors. And that's the quickest way to create the change is to help homeowners figure out how to buy from the right people. And I'm going to assume if you're on this webinar that you're one of the right people because you're trying to grow your knowledge, you're trying to grow your company. So first of all, people are going to go based off of what they see. You have 27 seconds to make an impression. And this is anything that has your brand on it is going to be making an impression. So the hat that you're wearing, the logo on your shirt, your vehicle wrap, your yard signs, your business cards, these things all make their own impression and they create an impact in the way that the client is actually going to perceive your business. So here's two questions that I want you to start off with. with answering. And I would love for you, if you're not going to be able to have time to answer them right now, but at least write them down and on your own time, answer these 2 questions, because it's where you're really going to be able to create an impact in your business, is through the focus of the people that you're trying to connect with. When you find those clients that you connect the best with and you create your process based off of that, that's when the magic really happens. So first of all, the first question is, what clients are most satisfied with your services? So if you had to pick your top 10 clients, they were the happiest, they referred you the most people, who were they? What did they look like? Where did they work? And then how can you fine tune your current messaging to focus on those relationships? Is there a specific type of community that you serve? So using myself as an example, I really figured out that for me, niching down and focusing on roofing was going to be the most effective way to create the results that I wanted, because I have one specific community that I help. I'm not trying to learn 100 different trades. The same thing with you guys. If you really focus on the type of client that you best serve, and you create all of your processes and funnels focused on your ideal client, you're going to get those results that you're looking for. And your marketing is going to be more effective. So we talk a lot about core values. We hear this, but does your brand, does the way that you do business, does the way that your team communicate with the property owner, does all of that match? And is that core value that you designed and you decided was a good thing for your company, is that living within your process and the way that your business operates? And if it's not, how can you take that first step so it does start to live and breathe within your process? And then, is your company's voice consistent? So whether someone's looking at a business card or hearing an employee of yours speak or listening to a sales pitch or the person answering the phone, is it consistent, the way that they speak, the tone of the company, and most importantly, the way that the client's experiencing all of these different elements that put together their perception of your company? And then, do you have a strong value proposition? So a value proposition is a clear way to effectively communicate what you're going to be offering your clients. It's very clear, it's very direct. Here's my value proposition. For us, our value proposition is leveraging the experience of thousands of roofing companies we've worked with to help each and every client win. So there's a clear direction. Now, how we do those, there's a lot of different ways. Same thing for you guys. So I want you to really be able to answer this question. What is your value proposition to your community? And when you think about that, I want you to think a little bit more beyond just, hey, we can replace their roof. There's something that you have within yourself that made you open up your roofing company, something specific, that inspiration. That's when you really lean into that to be able to create your value proposition. You can create something much bigger than yourself, much bigger than what you can even imagine. So think about that. What is your value proposition to your community? And write this one down as well. Like, really find clarity on this at the end. If some of you guys want me to help you write your value propositions, want me to help you with any of these questions at the end, I'm going to be able to do so. So just make sure, if you want some help with these things, to stay on the call at the end. I'll help you out. So going into building awareness, you have your perception, you have your values clearly mapped out, your core values and your proposition. The next thing is to create awareness, to get more eyes on your business. So a great question to ask yourself, is your logo eye-catching and will clients remember it? And an important here to really think about is, if there's a room full of this really works the best when I'm presenting this in the room, and you can physically see all of the different contractors and how similar the logos might be, or how similar just everyone kind of is representing their brand. So what are you going to be doing to stand out? And that's what branding is all about, standing out. So do you have a consistent and cohesive brand? Are people going to recognize you, whether it's just a split second, they just see you, your truck drive by, or they see you walking by at Home Depot? Is it so consistent that anywhere that your brand is being represented, and is it so memorable that people are going to be able to start to put things together? And if it is, awesome, that's a great job. Continue to highlight that and build off of that. And here's a question that really, whenever you answer this, and I want you to kind of just be real with yourself if you have a sales team. Does your online voice match your salesman's pitch and perception? So really think about that for a second. The way that your sales rep is representing your company at the homeowner's house, when they're doing the inspection, when they're sitting with them at the kitchen table, is that the same experience that a client is going to get if they go online and they Google you and they click on your website? Are they going to see what high caliber of a company you are on either of those? So does your salesman pitch and perception match what your online voice is? And when we really start to fine tune and craft your company, you can look at these and just see what points, and throughout this presentation, write down the processes and the points within your company that can really use strengthening. Is your salesman pitch something that you need to work on? Is your logo something that you need to work on? And just start making kind of your checklist. So let's talk about, why do we focus on the process? First of all, perfecting the customer experience is going to begin with expectations. Expectations that are met lead to 5-star customer reviews. Unmet expectations lead to unhappy customers. So if we take the time to explain the process and what's going to be coming next, there's going to be way less confusion, way less complaints. And more importantly, we don't want our customers to be unhappy during this roofing journey with us. So we also need to prepare the customer for any additional costs, any wait times, or issues that may arise, so that there are not any major roadblocks later on. So if we set the proper expectations throughout the process, and we're going to be covering this information today. Remember, I'm just giving you the intro and warming you up, because we're going to deep dive. So today we're going to deep dive into these subjects. The roofing education that we're going to really be looking at you to provide in these points of the process, specific education to your client during the sales process, is the inspection, the estimate, and the contract. During production is going to be onboarding, the build process, and quality assurance. During retention is final payment, warranties, and maintenance. So these are all different points of the process that your clients need to be communicated to. They need to be educated, and it goes so much beyond sales, and it goes so much beyond just how you answer the phone. Customer service is an experience, and that's what we want to help you craft throughout your process. When it comes to insurance claims, we know that there's some of you. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if you are working any insurance claims, just so we know. Or if you're doing 50-50, or if you're just doing retail, drop it in the chat. So for those of you who are doing insurance, what we've seen over and over throughout the different companies' experiences that we've been working with is, when these points are not properly explained, when the client doesn't understand this, that it leads to bigger issues down the road. So when it comes to storm damage, really having them understand the inspection documentation. When it comes to filing a claim, the policy, how to contact the insurance, paperwork, and any emergency services that you may be providing, such as tarping. The approval process on the insurance claim. What happens if it's approved, partially approved, or denied? Does the client understand these different terminologies? Even the check process, everything from the RCV check to recoverable depreciation, and even the supplement check. So these are points that we really need to educate our clients on. Let me read a couple of comments. 50-50, all insurance, retail, 50-50, only retail. I'm in CA and just doing retail, not much insurance potential in Cali. More of my jobs are through insurance. Awesome. Kelly, I do not know how to do that. So if you want to come and do that. So how to establish yourself as the expert, right? So how can we do that? First of all, we're going to talk about the acquisition path, everything from your pitch deck to informational documentation. When you're putting together your pitch deck and you don't have proximity into the area, there's a really big power in being local when it comes to the sales pitch to your client, because what that allows them to do is it allows them to know that you're going to be there in the long term. You're not just here today and gone tomorrow. Looks like Kelly is going to be is also going to now be Elizabeth on the chat. So just FYI, she's still going to be answering to you guys on the chat if you have questions. So how can you leverage your pitch deck to establish yourself in the proximity to that client while also building urgency? We want our clients to understand the cheapest you're ever going to get a roof is the price that you have today. The price of materials only going to increase. The price of labor is only going to increase. And if they have damage that is left unattended, it's going to increase the amount that needs to actually be done. Now they're going to have to pay more, not just in materials, but also in any additional damage or any health risk, such as if they have mold into their property now needs to be addressed. So all that's going to happen is the issues are going to continue to pile on, and the cheapest price they're going to get is the one that you're giving them today. So going into this, let's focus in on how this all comes together. That's a lot of great information, a lot of great points, but how can we take action? How can you implement this type of information into your company? And most importantly, where do you start? So today I'm going to be sharing with you my objective for you in this next part of the lesson is to help you create an impact in your community as the go-to roofing contractor in your area. So it's not just about driving revenue. It's not just about selling more customers. It's about really elevating that market perception that people have of contractors. And when I say that this is something that I'm passionate about, guys, this is what I live and breathe. This is what I do for a living. Anything that has to do with branding is just repackaging the company's aesthetics, and helping companies implement processes is just creating better standards so that their team can deliver consistently. So that's what I'm going to be focused on today. And the first thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about today is structure. What kind of structure should you have in your business? And I'm keeping it to some of the basics today. There are more advanced classes where I give you, such as my 411 roofing systems class, where I deep dive into these subjects. Today, I'm going to give you the basics that you can at least start today. And then if you want the more advanced information, we'll talk about that later on. So this is a very simple way to help you structure your company. When it comes to, first of all, your departments, the most necessary and the principle of business structure that we use is called a functional business structure. What a functional business structure does is it allows you to keep really good margins. It allows you to scale up and scale down very quickly whenever it's necessary, because we want you to always maintain a profitable business so you can continue to reinvest into your company, and most importantly, to stay in business for as long as you like. Whether you're planning on selling the company one day, you want to always have a profitable record. Also, at the end of the day, the most important thing for us is profits. So when it comes to the departments, we have sales, operations, and installation. And the reason why the way we overview this information, we don't call it production, is because production is something that's everybody's job. So sales helps throughout the production process, operations helps throughout the production process, and the installation helps throughout the production process. And the issue where we really started to see this is when I was going to offices and I would hear how the production manager and the sales reps, or the production assistant and the sales reps, just felt about each other and the workload. So really, to create less of that division of, well, that's production. It's okay. Is that an installation responsibility, or holding the sales rep accountable for taking the correct photos for the production process? Because that's where the production process really starts. It's with the photos that your salesmen or saleswomen are taking. And if they're not taking the correct photos, it affects the rest of the production process. So that's why we say installation when we're overviewing this information, is to set the tone that the build process starts from the inspection. So going into divisions, we have commercial, residential, and we also have your service division if you do have a service division. for the most part, a lot of our clients are mainly doing residential. We have quite a bit of people who do commercial only as well. So when it comes to services, you have replacements, repairs, and restoration. Really, really great ways to help grow. So how do you feel about your company structure? Guys, if you want to go ahead and vote in here, our structure and processes are solid. Everyone knows their role, but we need more organization. We are always in a flux and haven't had a consistent process. So far we're at 48%. We're always in a flux and haven't had a consistent process. And I'll share with you in my experience why I feel like our industry is like that. It's just because it's a hardworking industry. A lot of the people that you see today have become successful through hard work. It wasn't through organization and having detailed, which is great. We always respect that hustle of working hard, but now we're at a point where there's enough people that have joined the industry that have different skill sets like organization, like planning, that combining structure and organization and planning with hard work, that's a recipe for success. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to the way that I organize this outline for any type of business process, these are the main questions that I always need to answer. So whenever I'm creating a new process, because I create all of these processes that you see in our 411 roofing manual, that's processes that I've written and rewritten and then rewritten again and then rewrote it one more time just for fun. And every time I'm doing an organization session, I'm answering this. So the way that I kind of set it up is, first of all, what's the scope of this file? So whenever you have a client coming through, or a new file, if you want to call it a job, whatever language you want to use, what's the most important is that everyone in the entire company refers to it the same way. So having company language and being on the same page about how things are communicated. Then getting into stages. And I'm going to explain stages further on in the process so you can understand, but there's different stages in your process, and each of those stages have their own workflow. So for example, sell, build, collect, retain. Those are different stages. Lead intake is a workflow out of the sales stage. And then we can get super granular with that, but I'll continue to show you throughout the presentation. So checklist, the reason why checklists are important is it helps train someone from day one on how to do their job correctly, and it helps them be accountable even a year in on doing their job properly. So that's a checklist is a way to hold your team accountable. And then deliverables, what is the deliverable that needs to be completed at this stage of the process? So a great example for this is even talking about the lead to sales process. The deliverable is going to be a booked appointment scheduled on the sales rep's calendar with them being notified. So, or if you're using your CRM, the deliverable might be having the new lead input into the CRM. And if they have some inspection prep to do, such as order that measurement report, having that report attached to the file. So what is the deliverable that needs to be completed at this stage of the process? And then transfer. Transfer is one of the most important parts when it comes to having sales, operations, and installation on the same team and on the same mindset, is understanding how can I ensure quality when I transfer the file to my team member. So if everybody is focused on ensuring quality, if quality assurance is part of each stage of the process, what is the biggest thing that that's going to do? It's going to eliminate errors. So how can I ensure quality? Quality assurance is not just a step. It is a part of your process. And that's what I mean by your core values living within your business. If your core value is quality, then you need to highlight this question and put it into your process, because that is how you live that core value. So moving into structure, I'm going to give you guys an overview of each department. How do they really serve the business? So the first one is the operations department. This is really a key pillar in supporting and enhancing operations throughout the organization. So the primary focus here is going to be streamlining processes and the workflows across all of the departments, and promptly directing inbound communication to the respective team members. And just listening to a different way, this is essentially a more sophisticated way to say that they're making sure that everybody is communicating with the correct person, they're transferring calls successfully, and they're supporting all of their team members. So one thing that we want to make sure that the operations team is doing is, if it's one of the functions within your business to manage the KPIs, is them being accountable for doing so. Operations is going to be a great way to centralize all of your KPIs, to have somewhere where everything is reported to for tracking and accountability purposes. Because remember, we want to hold our team accountable. We want to hold ourselves accountable as business owners to troubleshoot any weak areas of your company as it continues to grow. Because as you grow, there's always something to work on. So when you have a hub of reports and management, then you're going to be able to identify those issues in, let's say, your leadership meeting, and figure out how to proactively continue to work on that. For us, our leadership meetings is pretty much just solving problems. So also creating that space to have leadership meetings with each department. So sales is executing the vision of leadership through direct communication with the clients. Your sales team is responsible for bringing that dream to life directly in the homeowner's property. So what does that mean? If your goal is financially to be able to sell $5 million a year, $10 million a year, $15 million a year, your sales team is going to help execute that on the front end directly with that client. And really what they're doing is they're going to be bridging the gap from what the client wants to what our team is delivering. And that's why I say that the production process starts with sales, because through that proper inspection and having a good contract that clearly has what the client wants and it's communicating to production and the internal team, it's going to allow us to continue to meet those expectations because they're clear and they're in writing. So, and that's why it's very important for your sales reps to take that part of their job very, very seriously. So new poll, if you can go in there and vote. The experience our sales team sells the customer on matches what they experience working with us. True, we are always realistic in our sales pitch and process. False, our sales and operations and production team are not always on the same page. And remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's more about identifying where you're at today. And I love those of you who are answering true. It's important to continue to be realistic. And those of you who are answering false, also, this is a great moment, because think about your results you have today. Think about if you just help your operations and production and sales team be on the same page, what does that mean for your business? And that's what I really want you to understand, is giving you guys the structure and information combined with the knowledge and your hard work ethic you already have. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help you. Iron sharpens iron. So that's what we're doing here today. Thank you guys, all of you who are participating. So getting into the production team, our production team is responsible for the execution of the higher level of service we provide to our clients by internal and external field communication to deliver a consistent build process, high standards and profitability on each job completed, proactive communication when things are going well or wrong. So when that means call your clients on the good days and also call the clients on the bad days. That means don't wait for something bad to call your clients. You can call them when things are going well. Hey, just calling to let you know all your material has been scheduled. Has been ordered. Your job is going to be scheduled. I'm going to call you next week with if any weather changes or anything happens, but we're set for XYZ dates, right? And then Last but not least, constantly evaluating our processes and performance to maintain a higher level of service. So far in the chat, we're about half and half on that poll. 20 of you voted 57%. So 57% of you guys voted that you are realistic in your sales approach, and 43% of you voted that it's false. So there's a lot more on you on this meeting that are not voting, guys. Help us out, vote. Okay, so that's an overview of the structure. We're going to get into the details now. And remember, even what I'm going to be showing you right now, this is even still just the basics. I have these departments so organized. Again, this is what I've been doing constantly. My entire job, 40 hours a week, is doing this. So operations department, the department members, the people that you're going to be looking at typically, admin assistant, a finance admin, an office manager. And so these are, or any other future positions that you might be recruiting for. So when it comes to the department team members for operations, a mistake that I see in the beginning is overextending yourself in operations without having that consistent revenue on the sales side to actually cover that overhead. So operations is a department, and also production as well. Everything has to be hired at scale. Okay. So the department purpose: scheduling, organization, communication, job costing, profit and loss reporting, payroll and commission reports. So very, 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 very important. P&L reporting is something that not a lot of companies do. And if you're not doing it, having a P&L on each job, having a P&L each month. With roofing, the amount of the P&L needs to be monitored way more meticulously, because your AR is so high. You could have right now well over $200,000 in AR if you're not managing it properly. So, and if your AR isn't that type of point, you really have to take a look at how you're continuously monitoring your cash flow and your profits. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to when it comes down to growing your business. Oops. So here are some of the ways that the operations team helps throughout the process. And remember, this is just an overview. These are examples. So first of all, scheduling. This is what department success looks like. So all inbound leads have been scheduled for inspections. All missed appointments have been rescheduled, and all missed leads or contacts have been followed up within the last week. So that's kind of an ongoing success sheet. Organization: all team members have the necessary tools and resources coordinated to effectively do their job. This means business cards, materials, access to any trainings you all have. Super, super important. And then here's a big one: all CRM notes are clear and input into a timely manner. So if the main person answering the phone is not taking as many detailed notes as they can on that first call, then how is the sales rep going to know all of the information that they need to know when it's time for their inspection and their appointment? So think about your sales rep. The admin is preparing your sales rep's appointment for them and making sure that they have a checklist that they're following. So when that sales rep goes to that appointment, that lead has been warmed up by whoever's answering the phone, and they have a higher chance of converting that lead just with that first call. When the call comes inbound, whoever answers that phone is going to determine and can warm up that lead for the sales process. So that if you start to see things like that differently, it will definitely help your sales reps convert at a higher ratio, even if it's just converting an extra appointment or an extra 2 appointments out of 10. So communication: input the call notes to the CRM and who it's transferred to. Communicate any payments have been logged or input. Job costing: all job invoices and receipts have been entered. Proactively creating a projected P&L for each job. This is vital. This is vital, vital, vital. And then making sure at the end that any changes that were made, if this went over, over budget, making sure why did this job go over budget, and then making time to review why are our jobs continuing to go over budget. Why do we have to continue to run more material to job sites? What's happening? Are we estimating incorrectly? Is it a sub issue? And then all jobs must have an accurate net profit number. And then payroll and commission, employee hours are accurately tracked and reported. And then the sales team monthly commissions sheets are created and reviewed with the sales manager. So jumping into sales. So first of all, why is our sales department important to us? Our sales department is vital to organization because they're the ones who are generating revenue and they're the front line to the business as a whole. They're a lot of the customer facing communication out in the field. They're scoping the jobs, and most importantly, they set the expectations for the client to do business with our company. Like the entire rest of the company process is making sure that we're meeting the expectations that the sales rep has set. Each conversation our sales department has reflects our core values. And this is when I realized this in one of my consultations, I was like, wow. Each conversation our sales department has reflects our core values face to face at a client's home. We are responsible for entering our client's home and making them feel safe, secure, and stable in the decision to have chosen us to protect their home. So who are some of the sales department team members? You can have sales managers, your sales representatives, your sales trainees, commercial business development. So depending on what you're looking at. The department purpose is going to be to raise the awareness of within the community of your company. So essentially generating more business for your company. Client education, maintaining themselves, everything that they do very detailed. Sell profitably. Like underline it, highlight it, put it on the salesman's folder, on their onboarding packet, get them a shirt for when they go to gym. Like literally, if there's one thing that you can do, train your sales people to sell profitably. Honestly, like that's the main goal. It's not just selling, it's selling profitably. So they can help us identify any opportunities, create awareness in the market, and capitalize and gain that market share. And so that's just mainly just focusing on making sure that any of their checklist items are continuously being followed. So when it comes to department success, what does that look like? So first of all, through awareness, that means they're following our targeted direct marketing campaigns, that they're proactively canvassing, they're proactively building relationships with any referral partners, and they're posting on their own social media to help raise your brand awareness. Your sales team, it's very simple for them to be able to post on their own social media, to be able to use their own network. And if they're not doing that and they're just relying on your company to provide them leads and appointments directly, then that just lets you know that they're not hungry enough. Because if you have a network, if you have your own social channels, why wouldn't you promote what you do to be able to increase the company's reach, and most importantly, even help them make their own money? And that's also, just to touch on this part really quickly, is that's why it's so important to understand what your team members, what their goals in life are. How much money do they want to make, and how can you keep them and help them stay motivated to hit those numbers? So when it comes to education, following presentation guidelines on each sales appointment, you need to have a presentation guideline, point blank period. Everybody needs to be giving the same presentation. The only thing that should change is just maybe it's a little bit longer for some people who have more time, maybe it's a little bit shorter, but always covering the basics. So focusing on educating our clients to help set us apart from other contractors and set the right expectations. And then here's a big one: align with the right clients for us. Okay, who is the right client for you? How can you align with them? So when it comes to documentation, following the inspection process thoroughly, presenting those findings, and positioning themselves as an expert to any potential client. Now, that doesn't mean an expert in as a roofing sales professional is someone who can identify an issue with the property and create a profitable estimate and contract to do business with them. So to be an expert as a sales professional in our industry doesn't mean you have to be the most knowledgeable on every roofing system on the planet, but you have to be an expert in the way that you communicate and advise your clients and how you perform your inspections. So a sales rep, if they become great at doing inspections, that's step one. Okay, so profitable, detailed scope of work on every proposal, accurately estimating all projects. So this means including time, material, complexity, labor, and here's that magic word again, and profitability. And then closers, making sure that they're following the process. If they're not following the process, how can we accurately track what is and what is not working? So profit, what is your average profit margin for replacement? I hope nobody answers less than 5%, please. And we're referring to gross profit, not net. So gross profit, not your net. All righty. So the industry standard for gross profit is you should be at 30 to 40%. And that's a good starting point. If you are at anything less than 30%, the first thing that you should be doing is figuring out how can I get to 30%. And it also depends on your market and the competitiveness of the market. There is some markets that realistically you are going to be at that 20 to 30% gross profit margin, but at the end of the day, when it all comes down to it, your net profit as an organization is not going to be 10% if your gross profit is 5%. And your net profit as a business needs to be 10% every single year. That's where you're going to create your budgets. That's how you're going to reinvest into your company. That's what's going to get you through the winter. Seriously. So we're going to be talking about this for those of you on the 30 to 40%, the 41%. That's awesome. The most that I've seen, and this was a $20 million a year company that I consulted for. I went into their company for 2 days and I did their processes. They were at like 60, 70%, but they were doing multiple trades. So it's also how many trades are you doing? So that there's a lot of questions to answer when it comes to profit. And we have a couple questions in the chat. I'm going to save them for the end, just for the people who might have to leave. I see someone already has to go. Yeah, Vince, we'll send you the recording of the class. So when it comes to production, first of all, I have it separated into 3 just to kind of give you an idea. So we're going to be going through pre-build, build, and then quality control. So first of all, starting off with the pre-build process, the main objective here is ensuring that the project the sales representative sold is understood and viable for the build process and the production team management, including what was and was not sold. So really what we're looking for is internal transfer success. And this is one of the things that we've set up very properly within our processes is how to bring a job on the onboarding process through your pre-production. So these are the main things that are going to be happening at this part of the process. It's going to be the handoff meeting, creating material orders, scheduling a project, making sure that this job is approved, any permits that need to be coordinated, and trades and crews. Thank you, Vince. We do have a live class coming up. So if you're looking to come to one of those, send us a message. On the build process, executing the project that was sold with all expectations being clearly defined so our field team can meet and exceed them with superior service and attention to detail. Same thing with build quality control process. So getting to the finish line and getting this project completed and paid. This means the dream has become a reality for the client and our team. So, whoops, I apologize. So the department team members here is going to be your production manager, your production assistant, the scheduling coordinator, and a project manager. The department purpose here is going to be making sure that we're intaking the project, we're preparing for the build, collection, and quality assurance. And remember, if you want quality to be a core value, you need to have that transfer question as each part of your process. So when it comes to production, making sure that we have a handoff meeting with a complete understanding of the scope and the contract. When it comes to preparation, making sure that we're creating our material list, submitting permitting paperwork. There's a placeholder on the build schedule, submitting the material order, and then notifying the client of a projected build date. When it comes to the build process, the pre-build site meeting has been completed with any crew lead, depending on the complexity of the job, if that's necessary. All of the materials and the measurements have been confirmed, and the build process has been executed per the workflow and the high standards that you have set for your installation. So quality assurance, final walkthrough has been completed with the homeowner, the punch list items have been resolved, and any reviews have been requested. Collections, the invoice has been sent with the payment link, and the final payment has been collected. So jumping into our process, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of this information, and then I'm going to talk to you guys about a class that we have coming up. For those of you who are tight on time, I do want to make sure that you get to see what we're going to be talking about on the class. And then for those of you who are not in a rush, we'll keep going through the presentation, and I'll continue to answer more and more questions. So the process for intake, the process overview for sales is intake, qualify, assign the rep, schedule the appointment, the pre-call, inspection, estimate, the presentation, options, and contract. So this is what I like to call your what to expect process. Here's what the client is learning about what they can expect from you as a company. Here's what they can learn. This is where they're learning what they can expect from the sales rep. This is where they're going to be able to learn what can they expect during the build. And it all happens through the communication during these different points. They're all standards that you're setting for that client. So the way that we've divided the sales process is to two. Are the estimate and the contract the same? No. And the reason I have it separate is because the way that I design my processes is that it can work for a company that does a 1 appointment close, or a company that does a 2 appointment close, or whatever the process that they follow. So we try to always design our processes versatile. That way, a lot of clients have asked me in the past, how is this going to work for my company? The way that it works for your company is because I extract processes, and processes for building a roof do not change much from company to company, besides just types of materials and any local building codes. If you're in Florida, specifically Miami-Dade and Broward, then you're on a whole different world. And I also have those processes organized because they are way more strict. But for everyone who's not in Florida or Miami-Dade and Broward, your processes are much, much simpler. My clients that I organize in Miami-Dade and Broward, their processes are twice as long, just with the amount of inspections and permitting necessary. And the building codes, like if you guys in other states saw the amount of paperwork for the jobs here, you'd lose your mind. So anyways, the sales process for the admin, first of all, their objectives are to schedule the sales rep with qualified appointments and input all of the client details in the CRM. The sales rep's job is mainly to qualify, educate, and close. So really what we're looking at in these questions, in this process for the admin, these are the main questions that they're going to be trying to ask or and answer within their process. So first of all, during intake, the main thing we need to understand, what is the project, and is it something that we do within our service area? Qualifying, is this the right kind of project for our team? Assigning the rep, what is the soonest they are available and who needs to be present, and did I assign the correct rep? And then scheduling the appointment, did I enter all of the client details into the CRM? Same thing with the sales rep, the pre-call. The main questions that they're going to be trying to get, first of all, is the homeowner present? what is the issue and how is it impacting them, and what is their sense of urgency. And I have this is all included in my new manual and on the 411 roofing systems class. Remember, I'm just giving you overview. I have all of this stuff super detailed. The inspection, what information do we need to gather on this property? What does the client's need? And how can we package this to feed or develop that sense of urgency? And then the estimate is really, what is the project completion going to cost? The presentation, what are we showing the homeowner that is going to set us apart from every other roofer in the area? And then options, what is the best for the homeowner based on their needs? And then the contract. Are all details covered as it pertains to the specific project? And what objections do I need to overcome to close this deal? So I want you guys to really answer these questions for yourself. We're going to jump into talking about the class now, but what is the weakest point in your sales process when it comes to defining the homeowner communication? What is the weakest point for you? And remember, if you want to do the workshop with me at the end, stay till the end of the class, because I will be right now, once we're wrapping up here, I will be answering questions, helping you guys workshop this, helping you with any questions until basically you guys are done. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm respectful of the people who do have a time constraint. What are 3 things you can proactively plan to implement in your business today that would create the most impact in your sales department? And this is a really good thing that I like to do, because sometimes as a business owner, I have all of these ideas, I have all of this, but what I need to focus on is what is going to actually create the biggest results. I don't need to do 20 million things. I need to figure out what's the one thing that I can do today to help my business. And then every day I wake up and I answer that question again. Because if I'm always just reacting to what gets thrown at me, I'm not being a good leader and being able to clearly create my vision. So is your sales process designed around creating raving fans? And that's one thing that I really learned in myself, is that I did not have my sales process like that. And I want to be that company. I want to be that company that the people who do business with us are fans, and people who are loyal to us and promote us, because this is what we love to do. This is our life. So if you're a business owner and you're in the same boat as me, that you want your clients to be your fans, it's always great to be realistic. If I'm not there yet, that's fine, but how can I get there? And then always just continuing to improve on that. So there's a lot more content that I would love to go through with you guys, but unfortunately, we are a little bit tight on time. I will do a part 2, and I'm going to upload this recording. So everybody who came into this one, we'll make sure we get you the part 2, and we'll give you the recording. So I do want to invite you all, everybody who's part of this class, if this type of information is something that you like, this is just a sneak peek. I've done it 2 times this year so far. This is going to be my 3rd time. So last year I did a one-on-one company tour. So I was traveling to 1 or 2 companies, and it was typically companies that were doing 10 to 20 million a year, just because the cost of this program, from me being away from my office, from my family, this is something that I had to price a little bit higher than the rest of our services. So that price at that time, I had a couple clients that we started at 10K per session, 15K per session, and 20K per session. And so I was going in, designing their processes. And with a company of that size, it would take me just 3 days with the templates that I had already built to customize their workflows and their processes. So, but what happened is I realized that I can't just limit myself to where I can travel to. I'm losing so much time within my business. I'm losing time with my son. For those of you who are parents, I'm sure you can relate. And I just didn't want to be with that constant travel. So I decided to launch a group training class. And the way that I've been doing it, I'll be honest with you guys, it's a very small group, just because I wanted to test my own skills of, hey, can I help a group of people plan for their business effectively? And the answer has been yes. I have been able to do that. It's something that I feel really proud about, and I want to continue to share, and I want to do this more. So, and I want to make this class bigger. So this is the last small class that I'm having. I have 5 seats left. It's October 12th and 13th here in Fort Lauderdale. It is the class that the last time it's going to be this small. Next year, I'm going to push myself to the limit, and I'm going to make this class much, much bigger now that I know that this is something that I can do. So how did I develop this? This is all of everything that I've learned in 8 years. Remember, I've been studying roofing companies for 8 years. And a lot of people sometimes ask themselves, well, how can you do that if you're not a roofer? The thing is, I'm the person that roofers hire to sit down and organize their processes. So yeah, that's how I learned, is by actually doing the work, by doing the organization, by doing business planning. I learned how to do all this stuff because this is what I do. This is my job. So here's some of the awesome companies that I got to travel to. So what's actually cool, and I just want to share this with you guys because it was a really, really cool moment in my career, is the company on the left side, those 3 gentlemen. This is the first time it ever occurred to me that I could help groups of people and not just do one-on-one. So these 3 guys, the budget, they wanted to make it more affordable for themselves. So they asked me if I could extend it one day, and they could all contribute towards the fee, and they split the payment between them. So I said, absolutely. And so that was the first time I did a group setting. Something for you guys to understand if you're wondering if this is a good fit for you. So the gentleman all the way on the left-hand side, his company is over 25 years in business. The guy in the middle, he only does commercial work. And then the guy on the right-hand side on that photo, he's just was barely starting up, like 2-3 men show. So just so you understand, this process works for anyone. And then I had the privilege of consulting for a lot of other different companies here as well. This is if you are in the Latino community. I host trainings for Latinos. And these are all different types of company. Next Gen, this is a company that does 25 million plus a year, mainly restoration. They do roofing, siding, gutters. Touchstone, they also are great. They do storm response. So with them, I created a storm response strategy, everything from organizing their deployment packet to literally how to set up their yard. Something that we're including for this one, since it's all about education, we're going to be including the residential book complimentary for anybody on this webinar who attends the class. If you're already attending the class and you want these free gifts, you're absolutely going to get them. So just send us a message and you'll get your free gifts as well. So residential roofing manual. We're also going to include our homeowner education guides. So we started creating already done for you templates for homeowner education. This is 12 pages of residential roofing education. It really teaches the homeowner everything. When you're trying to explain to them their inspection results, you can literally just pull this up and like show them with the photos of their own property where the damage is. For those of you doing insurance, this also is going to be including the insurance guide for homeowners. And then whoops. So this is what the offer is. You can go ahead and either sign up or learn more here, and I'll be available here right now to answer any questions, not just about this class, but just about everything. So typically my consulting package right now, it was going to be starting at $25K. I'm giving it in a group setting with the other manuals for only $4,099. It's the best price that I'm ever going to be able to give to such a small group setting. Again, this is going to be the last opportunity that people can sit one-on-one, kind of like in a small group dynamic, and really troubleshoot their process issues with me. One thing that I really like about this class is that you're in an environment with other business owners who are also working through their processes. And some of those company owners might be bigger than you. Some of them might be smaller than you, but you're literally in a workshop dedicated to planning. And the way that it works is I have sticky notes. I help you tab your books. You're highlighting it. I'm doing worksheets with you. So yeah, think about like, look, so here in this photo, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So you see he has all of his books tabbed up. They all have their highlighters. I provide all of the materials, the books, and you get a company branded SOP with this class. So you'll be able to get your company logo. But during the workshop, you'll have access to this. And another thing that we do for this is we give you your custom market research. So we'll pull up research on the homeowners in your area, their demographics. We'll know all of the types of different jobs that that are available within your community. Where are the people working? What are the results of your marketing to date? We're going to do a deep dive into your company in this specific class. This is the only time that we do this type of stuff is for this class specifically. I am not doing one-on-ones anymore at all. We are just focused on this class, and the next year, again, I'm going to be expanding this class. So do you guys have any questions, not just about the class, but also just about this, the whole experience that we've been talking about today? I am going to share a couple of testimonials while I wait for some questions. So
final check.
if you guys let me go in and see if I can find any.
I'm so glad we did. Don't wait 23 years like I did. Come here, get the information. Some useful info was sales managers, production management, processes we're going to put in place as soon as we get back. Can't wait to come to the next meeting.
And that's someone who's been in the industry for 23 years.
Everyone, we're here at 411 Roofing Systems Workshop in Florida, and I got to tell you guys, I've been in the industry for 13 years. I've saw information from some of the best roofers in this country, and I could have saved all that time by just attending this workshop. I got my money's worth when they handed me these two reports right here, and I still had 2 days worth of information packed in that, again, is just absolutely priceless. This can't be a secret. Be here next time, and then we're going to have more impact through this workshop.
This is Sean and Nick. We're here in Miami doing a process event, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I had a great time. Learned a lot. There's a lot to unpack, but we're excited to go back and start implementing it into our organization.
They actually came, that owner came with operations manager, sales manager, and production manager to the class. So they're all on the same page when they got back.
Brown with Last Material Roofing and Construction based out of Houston. Just finished up the 2-day class with Business 411. Definitely was the best investment I've done since we started the company from its inception. Really seeing how what we were missing without knowing what we were missing, and being able to take the ideas that I have in my head, and now I have a blueprint that I can implement with my team to be able to go from where we are now to where we want to be in a lot more efficient manner. So I definitely would recommend this to anybody. Value's untouchable or uncomparable.
So Daniel Hitchcock, I own Royal Roofing in Houston, Texas. This right here, your dream company, is on the other side of being busy. I'm going to tell you what, Liz is very overlooked. What her and her team are doing, this is groundbreaking stuff that is completely lacking from the roofing industry. For someone like me as a company owner to come in and see what they have that is literally plug and play for systems and processes, I'm blown away. We are super excited for everything we learned, but I'm telling you, people don't realize what they're offering. You guys need to check this out.
It's a really cool experience to see how many people we are able to help through this process. I think for me as a business owner and as a visionary, just being able to have people there and seeing that relief, that feeling of relief when someone who's a visionary understands that there's a process and they can now really effectively delegate and have an integrator to help them execute their vision. I think that's something that is unmatchable. So, as we go through as I just wanted to make sure that I covered that with you guys, give me a thumbs up if you have a few minutes to go through the process area, and if you want to go through questions. How do you manage client expectations in a large storm? We had a huge storm, so the insurance adjuster meetings took longer. We are having material shortages, up to 3-month wait on some materials, and labor shortages as everyone is pulling from the same labor pool. So, Brooke, thank you so much for sharing that question. That's a great question to ask, because when you're in a storm area, you have to remember the type of clients that you're working with at this point. These are clients that you're also competing with a lot of other people coming to knock on their door and give them all the promises in the world. Okay. And on that aspect, what's really important is to be able to have clarity in what you just said. Was literally what you need to tell your clients. Look, and what I would do is I would even make, like, if you have a folder. So if you have a folder, we design these folders as well. Just create a sheet inside your folder outside of your regular sales presentation that just says, hey, this is a storm response emergency protocol. This is some things that we want to prepare you to expect. And tell them that from the front end. Look, I'm here to help you guys out, but this is a little bit of the things that we're going to be experiencing. Due to this, our meetings with the insurance adjuster are taking a little bit longer. And then explain why. Why are they taking longer, so that they can understand, okay, the meetings are taking longer because X, Y, and Z. Okay, they're running short on materials because X, Y, and Z. And I obviously, the labor one, from everyone is pulling the same labor pool. I would obviously reword that part too. But what I would say in that case is going to be, hey, when it comes to coordinating our labor and materials, we just want to make sure that we're giving you an accurate time frame. We're going to be about 3 to 4 months out on the build process. In the meantime, this is how I'm going to make sure I'm going to tarp X, Y, and Z. What is your plan for right now while this is going on? So having a response plan for now, and this is what storm response strategy is. So that when I was showing you guys the slideshow earlier of the company I made a storm response strategy for, that consultation, we literally just talked about what happens when a storm hits. And that's why it's so important to kind of have these things laid out ahead of time, because this is a huge potential for your company today, Brooke, to take advantage of the momentum that you can build by helping your community during this time, and being that roofer that's the go-to when it comes to storm response, is giving people good expectation, is giving people a good experience even in the middle of a storm. So if you want to learn more also about the process class, for those of you who may have to run, I'm going to drop a link in the chat for you. I don't know if you don't mind dropping it in the link in the chat, Kelly. Let me see what else we have. Also for trades other than...
Sorry, Liz, before we move on, if anyone is at all interested in learning more about the roofing systems class, or just have some questions about anything we talked today regarding processes, I strongly encourage to click the link and just book an appointment with our team. They're very knowledgeable in this stuff, and we can get you guys even more information on it. Thank you.
Yeah, our classes in over here in Fort Lauderdale, when it comes to the class itself, it's going to be 2 days. So the event, it starts at 10 and it ends at 5. And then we have a happy hour the first night for networking. And then the second day is the same schedule. We provide you with lunch. And it is at what is the name of the hotel, Kelly?
It's at the Residence in Lugano. It's a really cool intercoastal hotel in Fort Lauderdale, in a really nice area.
Oh, thanks, Matt. Matt said we are coming to the class in October and super excited about it. Yay, thank you. I'm assuming you're familiar with most CRMs and things like Proline and Rufo and how they can best work together. Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be the perfect time for us to sit down and talk about any specifications like that, which is great that you're coming to the class. We get to spend so much more one-on-one. A common mistake that a lot of people make is that they book on Friday their flight immediately to leave. I would highly recommend to book yourself the latest flight back home on Friday possible, or even go home Saturday so you may have a time to rest, just so you can take advantage after the class is done and spend one-on-one time with me. I'm there till basically everybody's ready, everybody leaves. So we can spend as much one-on-one time as you'd like and work through anything as well specifically. And then we also have, you'll be able to work with some of my team directly is going to be there. Which we have Oscar, who's the VP of of the company, and he is a genius when it comes to programming, to software. So we'll be able to answer any questions on that as well. And Ariel is going to be presenting and helping you guys with marketing. Myself, we have a ton of content that you guys are going to be going through process and structure with me. Seriously. Do you have workflow templates for Job Nimbus? I do not have workflow templates for Job Nimbus at this moment. However, the workflows, the ways that I design them, they're very easy to take it out of our process manuals and put it into Job Nimbus or anything like that. The way that I organized it is there's like the stage is at the top of the book and then the workflow is here. So you could easily just use the same titles and the same names that I have here and just put them into Job Nimbus. Froy, thank you so much. Going into a meeting, thank you so much for all the information. Great webinar. Thank you, Froy. I really appreciate you spending some time with us today. I'm always going to be trying to create better and better content for you guys. So anytime you guys have any questions or anything in the industry you feel I should make, let me know. Let me see who else. Sorry, I'm just going to go back and see any questions if I missed them. Okay, on their own social media, do they make their own page, like name, company name? Some don't want their personal pages turned into a business page on social. They can open up their own profile. That's what I did. I opened up a separate profile where the best option is they can just make their own page. That they can create their own like roofing name if they want, not roofing company name, but if they want to be, there's people who like the world's greatest roofer, TJ McCormick. For me, I use Liz for Biz on my Instagram. And then on my Facebook, I created a profile for business. And yeah, so I don't have any friends that are like personal friends on my Facebook. It's mainly all just work. But I can understand that. But at the same time, in today's day and age, like you really need to be on social media. I think a challenge for many of us is deciding at what benchmarks it's financially feasible to hire for the different roles required versus having split roles for a single employee. Absolute, Rick, this is a great comment. Oh my God, I wish I would have read this one earlier. This is a great comment. And the reason why I designed my process based off of not job descriptions. So when I was first starting to do business planning for roofers, I didn't really at that point understand the huge difference between hiring and firing and the turnover, how big of an issue it is. So what I did is the way that I started organizing my plans and trying to combat that high employee turnover in our industry is that I started to do, instead of just focusing so much on job roles, which is initially what I was doing, I started to focus on just the process. And you can literally assign any part of the process to any employee. And the way that we did it, and I'll give you guys. Kelly, can I give them a sneak peek of the manual or no?
Okay. Go ahead.
So I'm just going to give you guys a sneak peek. I can't go too into detail, but here it is. So it does have the hierarchy and structure in it, but the way that this manual is designed is that each part of the process has a checklist. So this is the overview page of the stage, but the thing that's going to help you regardless if you have 10 employees, 20 employees, 30 employees, or is just you trying to find your first employee is the way that this manual is written. It has a checklist for anyone to start doing that job. My company uses outside sales reps, not in-house, and they will typically hype up the company and experience a little too much. So expectations are difficult to manage during the operations process. When would you suggest to have those conversations with the homeowner to lower and manage expectations? And how would you suggest doing this without throwing the sales rep under the bus? Wow, this is a great question, right? So when the sales rep is hyping the company up too much, I think the best question to ask is, what is the company doing or not doing that the sales rep is selling to the homeowner? Is it, hey, this job's going to be super easy, and the job's not super easy. It is roofing, and roofing, after all, is major construction. So where is it that unmet expectation is? What is the language that is causing the homeowner to be unhappy? And to have the conversation with the homeowner about resetting the expectation, the way that we recommend is doing a verification call. What we call this is internal transfer. So let's say you're dealing with high turnover, sales reps come and go. Unfortunately, it is a reality within our industry. So understanding with that the jobs, once a contract is signed, how do we get this job to become a company client versus just a sales rep client? So that's the mentality that I want you to have when we're trying to onboard a job, is making sure the expectations are reset. And that happens during that verification call with the homeowner, resetting expectations, resetting the expectation on the process for the build, for materials, for scheduling. If it's an insurance claim, the insurance process is not as easy as some sales reps want to tell the homeowner. One thing we recommend, even if you're not coming to the class, I recommend that you get our homeowner education guide for insurance. Everybody should have that if you're doing insurance, and the same thing for the residential roofing. You should have those, because they explain all of the basics in roofing that a homeowner really does need to know. And so on the insurance side, it gives the homeowner a glossary, what words they're going to have to learn during this process. Who are they going to be meeting? What is an adjuster? They don't even know these things. So giving them as much information as possible so they can really unpack that. And most importantly, on that verification call, is having them understand that this company is not just a sales rep out there doing the job. It is also a staff. We have supporting team members, we have operations, we have installation. So that's another reason why it's important as a business to really recognize how we can improve, how can we do better, how can we meet those expectations. And then without throwing the sales rep under the bus, I think this is something that I would still talk to the sales manager about. Just say, hey, we're having these issues with the sales rep saying things, and it's causing issues with the clients, and I'm afraid we're gonna start getting a bad review. And if there's not a work culture that's a positive place to say that, then that's a bigger issue. Because as an employee, you should be able to talk to a manager about any issues in a good way that are productive, and just explaining to them, hey, this is causing an issue for us. How can we fix this? And then also figuring out, how can you improve? Is there something that you could do better within your job? Hi, Liz, I am new in this. We are a subcontractor, but we want to start looking for our own jobs. But it is really hard because I don't know how to start. What do you recommend? I don't know how to start the conversation. Well, first of all, congratulations on starting to try to open up your own company and to go after things yourself. The most important thing when it comes to creating your business is going to be the way that you are going into your sales pitch. When you're going to start your company, the first thing you need to do is figure out your name. Figure out what is your value proposition to your community. Like I was saying in the beginning, what is your value proposition? So since you're a subcontractor, are you going to leverage the fact that you've been installing roofing systems, not just selling them? Or are you going to use your own experience as that value proposition? What are you going to do? Because you have to create a competitive advantage and build your brand around that. The name is going to be very important. You need a good name. It's like, think about it. Like, you're going to be stuck with that name. You want the best name possible. If in the future, for me, I'll share a funny story. When I first started my company, I named it Contractor Tech Shop. It was horrible. I doodled my own logo. It was ugly. It was really bad. And the colors, it was too long. It didn't make sense. And so then I was like, okay, how can I dream bigger? What can I do? If I could see myself achieving my most potential, what would that be? And for me, the answer was one day helping all kind of businesses, helping so many different types of business owners, giving them information. So I'm starting with roofing today, but the reason why it's called Business 411, and now we started separating our programs out into 411 roofing systems and our residential, our roofing education manuals and so on. It's just now we started to define the specific names of those things. So, any other questions that you guys have for me, I'm more than happy to answer. I'm here for you guys. Where can I find the other manuals you mentioned, the insurance claims process and more? Kelly, if you can please drop that link. Okay, you can just go to our main website, business411.com. Also, you can also send us a message and schedule a time to meet with one of our sales reps. They'll be able to show you our different manuals and see what works best for you. If you're available now, I think maybe Nick or Vanessa might be available. But when you look at our manuals, we have different types of content. We have the homeowners, we have the team, we have the owners. So that's the way that our content is designed. We have owner education, team education, and then homeowner education. And just so you guys understand how this was all inspired, when I mentioned to you all that how I learned the industry the hard and long way, because there was no easy ways to learn it. I started off with this giant tabbed up binder, and it had like different information on manufacturers and different information on suppliers. And I had like random notes scribbled from every roofer I ever talked to. And that's really when I started Business 411, like what I was able to get a lot of my knowledge from was the things that I wrote and how I took notes. I think that's probably the best thing about me was I took really good notes for 8 years about roofing. What is a good profit margin for trades that need less managing material and labor handled by the sub, such as gutters and fencing? So, Brooke, even if the trade needs less managing, you still need to have a good gross profit margin. It's not about this needs more management or this needs less management. It's what is the industry standard for this and how do I stay competitive, right? So we don't want to, just because it's less work for you, charge less than what you can potentially do. Because those profits, the profit is all really the main idea is to not only just pay your team, pay yourself, but also reinvest into your business. So we want to regardless of the trade, 30% is a good baseline. That's a good baseline. If you can do higher, I always recommend to go higher than 30. But I wouldn't do any service or sell any product or do anything for less than a 30% profit. It doesn't matter if it took me 1 second. Is just a good standard for yourself, like just a best practice, depending on your market. If the market's just at less than 30, then you really have to take a look and say that's specific to your market. Actually, what we can do is, are you coming to the class? Because I was gonna say on the class we'll be able to have a report for you on your area. Is the 30% profit after all expenses correct? Yes. So your gross profit is after time, labor and material and sales reps commission. And then, yeah, so that's going to be your gross profit. We would like to expand our company and hire, but how do we know we are ready? This is a great question. I went through a lot of hiring through my years at Business 411. Kelly and I can share all kinds of stories about hiring and how it is. But what I would say, the biggest thing that I wish I would have done better when I did my first hire was to project my income a lot better. One thing is that I took all the money that I was making and put it into hiring. Looking back, that's what helped me become successful, because what I did is I built a team like this. Like I built a team within a few months, and within the first year, we already had 10, 12 employees, just so you understand how quickly I built my team. So I was basically paying myself nothing and just overextending myself to try to get get all my team together. I wish what I would have done at that moment is to create just a safety net for the company, put aside expenses, not just for payroll, but also just for myself, make sure that I was already paying myself before I started hiring. But those are sacrifices that as business owners we make, and sometimes they pay off very well. It did pay off for me now. But back then, when you're making like no money and you're living off of whatever extra your business has, that was probably a mistake, but it's a mistake that worked. What I would do now is make sure that you have your payroll secure, that you're paying yourself, you have expenses covered, and making sure that that new hire, you have enough money set aside that if you don't see any results or extra sales for 90 days, you can still pay them. And that's kind of now when we make hiring decisions, we have learned. And actually, Kelly, if you want to chime in on any hiring tips, she really handles a lot of that for us. Is it better to work from the beginning on any claim with a public adjuster or defend the case? Is it dependent on the case? And yes or no? Okay, so on this one, when it comes to working with a public adjuster, I would say the first part is making sure that the adjuster that you're working with has the capacity and the bandwidth to work on your claims. Because if you don't have a good adjuster that has that bandwidth, then your claims might get put on the back burner and you might not have the best experience. And let's say it's only 1 or 2 claims that you have, and now you're up to waiting on someone else's process and what that other company can do. So if you're going to work with an adjuster, I recommend finding the right adjuster who has time, who has bandwidth, and can give you the customer service that you deserve. And then, do you need to hire an adjuster on every claim? I don't think so. You don't need to, but there are certain contractors that I work with that do it. And that's just because they're not set up business wise to handle all of the questions, concerns that comes with the claims process. So it is a good question for you to also think about your own bandwidth. What are you able to take on? What kind of adjuster, if you were to find an adjuster you want to work with, how would that adjuster need to be set up? How can they work with you? What would they be able to teach you? How would they help you? And it's just like hiring an employee is when you're hiring a contractor to work for you as well. Making sure that you understand. We have a great PA that we work with and that we always recommend. And so we'll send you over that information as well. During the training, will you discuss more on how to start insurance? I'll talk about how a job should flow through the insurance process and where you're going to be educating your clients on. It's just focused on the insurance process in your business, how it works through your business. If you want to get more into insurance, send us a message and we can do a meeting with you to really help you out on that. And just give you some tips. I believe if your name is Reynaldo, I'm sorry if I'm assuming, but if you're Latino, we have Latinos in roofing training that we're going to be doing before the end of the year. That's also going to be teaching. So that's an all Spanish lesson. For those of you who don't know, I'm Cuban, Juanita. But on that training, we will be talking about insurance only. For supplementing, I'm gonna recommend you with our PA that we work with, which is your virtual adjuster. They're pretty good, and they even have an app to help you during the claims process. The training for Latinos, I'm not 100, I don't have the date yet, but what I recommend is shoot us a message and I'll have you work with Vanessa, who is, she's one of my Spanish sales reps, so she'll be able to provide you with more information on that. But yeah, so the training for Latinos, we're gonna have, I just did one in Atlanta. It was called Vende Más Techos. And that one, I was just talking about homeowner education. It was really, and if you want Vende Más Techos, if you want that ebook, send us a message and I'll schedule an appointment with Vanessa and you can get that free ebook in Spanish. And if I have a few, we'll give a few to the people who are on this training. How often should you touch base with a client? So I believe in our process, there's like 10 different touch points with the client. How often, it's more of like what parts of the process. So if we're referring to insurance claims, which I believe Brooke, you're the one who had you just had a recent storm. So okay, Kelly, can you give them the info for the Spanish book? Just have them book with Vanessa.
Yeah, so everyone, we're actually gonna have our team reach out since there's a lot of people asking for multiple things here. I'm gonna have a member of our team give you all a call for next steps. If there's anything you need from us, if you'd like to get access to some of our free tools, I'm gonna have our team reach out. So just expect a call from us sometime today to get you set up with everything you need. Thanks.
Okay, awesome. Hold on, there was a question. Yeah, sorry. How often would you touch base with a client? So yeah, during the insurance process, what I would say is that you should be following up with them every other week. It can also just be a text that says, I haven't had any updates. Hope everything's doing well. Let me know if you need anything. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out response. It could also be, if you set the expectations from the beginning, this is going to be a 3 to 6 month process. Here in Florida, just so you guys understand, like all the insurance claims is a year process. I have, there's some clients here who are 2 years in and they're still going through the claims process with their clients. So just so you understand, that claim process can highly vary. And even in other places and other areas, we're seeing insurance really cracking down and just deny. So it is an uphill battle. So that pitch that people used to have a long time ago of just door knocking and telling people like, hey, basically get a free roof through insurance, like that's not even a possibility. They have a deductible. So, someone, you know what? Someone had a question about deductibles. I don't remember who it was. I attend the one in Atlanta and I loved it. Do you have homeowner guides in Spanish too? We don't, but I'll let Kelly answer on that. I think we can do a custom one in Spanish. Okay, cool. Yeah, we do have them in Spanish. You see, my team is so good. So yeah, we can help you out with the homeowner guides in Spanish. Yes, okay. How do you suggest collecting for the deductible? So there is a program called Fund My Deductible, which is financing the deductible for homeowners. I believe there's like no credit required or something like that. So I highly recommend to take a look at that. Fund My Deductible, FUND My Deductible. Yeah, and then as far as one of the biggest things is always making sure to collect the deductible. How can I know if a policy is RCV? I would recommend for you to take a look at our insurance manual. I actually show you on that manual where you can tell what type of policy it is and how to read the declarations page. And what kind of line item should be included on your Xactimate estimate. So 100%, I would highly recommend everybody who has questions on insurance. I recommend taking a look. Potentially Xactimate is the best site to estimate, or do you recommend another platform? So Xactimate is what and stability or what the insurance carriers are using, there's a lot of different types of ways to estimate. And so one thing that we recommend as a best practice is to also just know how to build your own estimate, not using the insurance carrier software. If you know how to work Xactimate, that's great. There is a lot of great classes for Xactimate. There's someone that I recommend. Her name is Alina Wilson, and she teaches exactly how you can use Xactimate. Her class is called Xactimate Mastery. And so she teaches a weekly class on Xactimate. When is our next seminar? So our live class is October 12th and 13th here in Florida. Are you referring to like this webinar? The next webinar, when are we gonna do it, Talis? In a couple weeks? Yeah, maybe like 2-3 weeks from now, we'll do another webinar. But this one, October 12th and 13th, this is the live one. This is the last one that I'm doing for processes for the rest of the year. So just remember, this is super important. Again, this is my consulting program that I can do one-on-one for $25K a ticket. We're doing, and I've done this all over the country. We are doing all of this for just $5K, and you get to bring your team. Seriously. And you do get your roofing process manual with your company logo. It comes with all of your company colors. So whenever you hire someone new, it's not going to say Business 411 on it. It's going to be your roofing company name. And you also get the market research report. So that's the one that you saw in this video that Bobby Jones was holding up. It was both copies. Let me pull it up here. If anybody has any final questions, go ahead. Am I blind? And comment. Here it is.
What's up, everyone? We're here at
He's holding these two.
money's worth when they handed me these two
Look, he said he got his money's worth just off these two reports. That's how good they are.
reports right here, and then I still.
Which guide do you recommend for me to learn more how to communicate with the client? I'm a subcontractor, but I want to start looking for own jobs, but I'm afraid to talk to clients. I would recommend our Sell More Roofs ebook. And that's the one that I have in Spanish, the Vende Más Techos. That one helps you with talking to clients. But besides that, I would recommend this class. This class is what I recommend for everyone. Like that's
I had 2 days worth of information packed.
This class is really going to be teaching you how to communicate with your clients, how do you talk to clients, and then we're going to continue to go through all types of information for your company, including marketing. The affiliate code for YVA is, sorry, where did it go? Biz 411. So that's BIZ 411. So thank you so much for everyone who signed up from the class. We only have 3 seats left. We had 2 people sign up on this webinar. First of all, I want to say thank you all for spending some time with us today. You know, we're really, really excited for this class. So make sure that you come October 12th and 13th. It's very, very much worth it. And we're here to help you guys with anything that you need to know. So yeah, awesome. Well, thank you everyone. I appreciate your time. I really enjoyed this. If this was a good experience for you, please, if you can do me a favor and go on my Facebook and just post about this webinar. Remember, you guys are helping me whenever you share about our class or about our webinar. If you can go on any one of the groups and just recommend us, like a lot of people don't really understand what we're doing behind the scenes. And So I'm really trying to put myself out there, and I'm trying to grow as a business owner, as a coach. Which I have never, ever, ever referred to myself as a coach, but this is something that I'm really passionate about, is process and organization for roofing companies. So thankfully, what I'm passionate about helps all of you guys. So it just helped me to help you, to keep helping more people. Share, give us a review, share what the experience is. If there's something I can do better, if you want to see different kind of content from us, let me know. I'm here for you and I'm here to help. So thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. There's the link for the review. Remember, every single review, every comment, even when you like my post, it helps me. It helps Facebook to put my ads in front of more people. So even if you don't buy anything from me, just your support of continuing to share our stuff, it really does help. So bye everyone. Have an awesome day. Thank you.